Okay, based on some of those dimensions I took the other day, I've put together a few things for this. I think that it's going to take some adjustment. I think I might need a few more dimensions out there, or we'll need them to kind of firm things up a little bit. But I put together enough of a model to represent this. And then when I took my elevation, this is looking from the side, looking west up this way. I measured 26.5 inch down to where the pavement was here, and then all the way out at the far end of that sidewalk that you had formed up, I measured that as down minus 35, so an additional 8.5 inches down from here. But you said this is only an inch across those 3 feet, so there must be some adjustment that'll have to be made there. So from these photographs I tried to get a little better of an idea. So we were minus 26 here and minus 35 here. I assume this goes straight. This was level over to here, not sloped up or down. But I know that this wall, this was 18.5 inches down, so it looks to me like these risers were almost, maybe even as much as 9 inches high. So from that I kind of calculated where the top of this must be to try to get this terrain figured out. And so because I didn't take elevation readings out here at this corner in particular, how far down that grade is from the surface of the porch, the best I could ascertain was that I know this is 18.5 inches down, and then I assumed maybe these are 5 inches apiece. Here these blocks are 5 inches apiece, which meant this was 18 plus 15 down, minus 33 to there. So that is one critical reading that we should have there, and it wouldn't hurt if we had one from this upper end of this sidewalk, the north side of this sidewalk. Both of them how far up to the porch. And I also assumed that if this is 18.5 down and those are 5 inches apiece, I have the surface of the slab at 28.5 down. 18.5 plus the 10 to the surface of the slab. So I just wanted to get a feel for where this was here. And if I move that down, if I move this down 28, it's like that. Before I did that though, I put together a few rudimentary plans or a few alternatives that I would want to model once I had that land correct. And first of all, I think they had a 36-inch wide stair, so I think that should be 40, and obviously centered on the door, which leaves us 49 inches to work with. And the first plan I call A was 4 risers, 1, 2, 3, 4 to this sidewalk over to the thing, which obviously is exactly what existed there before, the 4 risers, 1, 2, 3, 4, except we want to make our risers less high. And if I have this right here, that this sidewalk, 36-inch wide sidewalk, starts at 25 or 25.5 from the front of the porch, not the front of this foundation, but the front of the porch here. By that plan then, these treads would be 12 3/4 of an inch each. And in determining the riser height, how high we should make those risers, if we put this 12 3/4 depth, the tread depth, into this program or this little spreadsheet, and based on these standard stair building rules, it generates these kind of numbers. Because these weren't, I was wanting these a little bit higher. Probably if I was using this 12 3/4 inch depth, I would choose 5 3/4 for a riser height, which is on the high end of things. But if we shrink that depth down to 12 inches, these numbers kind of increase a little bit. And I am going to work with a 12-inch tread depth and a 6 1/4 inch riser height. So I took this here, instead of that 12 3/4, I just shifted that back a little bit. And I don't know exactly where that point in the driveway is, if that is 5'2" from the foundation or not. But that's what I started with, doing that, making this 40 inches wide, centered on that, and going with a 12-inch tread depth and a 6 1/4 inch riser. And since that tread depth is more or less called out by where this sidewalk is here, but 12 is, and that's from the front of the porch, so that first one's like 14 because it goes all the way back. But since those are 12, and just use that, I use that as a starting point, just leave that at 12-inch, work with a 12-inch tread depth. So there was a 4 riser plan, and the next alternative then would be a 5 riser plan where 1, 2, 3 down to the landing, 4, and then 5 onto this twisted sidewalk. I keep calling it a twisted sidewalk, but I'm not completely sure how twisted it would be. And then finally, in this, before I actually finished modeling that land, there was an alternative to go all the way to 6 risers. And if we did that, depending on how all this worked out, we might be able to make those risers a little closer to that. Those risers could be pushed down anywhere between 6 1/4 and 5 1/4. Now, for what it's worth, none of these plans would require a railing anywhere, because there are no more than 3 risers in a row anywhere on the plan. You probably would want a handrail going up somewhere. But obviously, if this one's down around 28 inches or so, and ours is only going to be about down 18 inches, our landing, because we would come down 1, 2, 3 times 6 1/4, so our landing would only be down 19 from this. That means our landing is up near the top of this wall, about an inch below the top of this wall. And so I don't know if you would have the opportunity to build this land up correctly and slope it down like that to make that work or not. But I did want to put a few things together to at least have some sort of a starting point or something to adjust from or go forward from. So I put this together, and you can see how far out of the land this is at this end here at least. So that is showing this sloped sidewalk down to the driveway with these 3 here, and then that land build up that back corner as well, and this slopes down here. And the next thing then was going from that 4 riser plan to the 5 riser plan, and that just kind of changes it like this. But again, this all relies on building this land up here, and I don't know if that's a viable option or not. I prefer this 5 riser plan to the 4 riser plan, just because I think it's better. But that's just a starting point, and if I can actually come out there tomorrow and take some more of these dimensions to try to get this firmed up a little bit, unless you're getting ready to go with this tomorrow. In any case, I just want to give you a few things to look at, and you can get back with me if you like anytime.